Okay, welcome back, everyone. We are continuing working with writing data frames to files from our using the reader package. So we were using the write CSV function to do that. And one thing I didn't finish up, I apologize, in the previous video was this question was asking us to write to a CSV file. And then this is saying, let's import that file back and let's compare it to the file that we exported. So we took this file students, or this data frame, excuse me, students, that was all cleaned up and tidy, and we wrote it to this CSV file. The first one was just called students data under .csv. Now let's see what happens. Let's read this in. And you would think that these two functions are inverses of each other. Read and write. So I write to this file. Now I read to this file. And let's take a look at this. We'll call this we'll print out this result. And you can see the result down below. It looks pretty much the same. This is asking me, compare the result. Is everything look the same? And I think all of the values look the same to me. They do. I've got the same dimensions, 6 rows and 5 columns. They're all named the same. But notice here, age, I exported age as an integer, but when I read it back in, it was read as a decimal. And when I exported the data frame, the student ID was an integer, but when I imported it back in, it's now a double. And meal plan was a factor when I wrote to the CSV file. When I read that file back in, it's now a character. And this is because with the read CSV command, there's only 4 column types that you can possibly get based on the algorithm that it goes through when it assigns column type to each column. You're either going to get a logical, a double, a date, or a character. And that's what we have here. So I exported column types that were other than those 4 things, namely an integer and a factor. And when I read that back in, there's no chance of me getting integers and factors as column types by default. I would have to override that and specify them myself. So this is not an ideal property. The fact that when I write to a CSV file and then read that CSV file right back in, I don't get the same data structure back. The data types have changed a little bit, and I can customize that with the call types argument, but that's some extra work that I now need to redo all over again. So in the next video, we'll talk about a different file format that will help avoid this exact issue that we just highlighted here. Thanks.